Good evening. I'm Pastor Tom, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about the pandemic that we're going through with the coronavirus. It's not easy always to keep ourselves and our families safe during times like these, so I've got a few things put together here that I want to share with you tonight. You see, the coronavirus is dominating the news. Everywhere you go, it's all you hear now. And the thing that bothers me most is that the fear of contracting this disease has become more dangerous to us than the disease itself, because people are acting irresponsibly and doing things that only create problems for other people. So this has been classified as a pandemic, and the government is taking extreme measures to try and contain the spread of this disease. But it has caused the stock markets to plunge downward. It's affecting commerce, it's affecting travel, it's affecting entertainment, and yes, it's even affecting sports. You know, we have a serious situations on our hands when they close the sports arenas. You know it's got to be serious. I'm appealing to all Christians now that if you're running scared and you're acting out of fear, I'm asking you to resurrect your faith in God. Resurrect your faith in God. And as Christians, we need to act responsibly and set a good example for those who may be watching us, because we may be the only Bible that some of these people will ever read. So we need to set an example to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing, so that we don't add to the problem, but we add to the cure. I'm going to suggest a few things that we can do in the face of this current crisis, which have proven to be successful in the past and very effective against contracting diseases. Doctors and government authorities are providing guidelines and things that we should do, but most of all, we need to exercise common sense, just simple common sense. Number one, wash your hands. It's that simple, wash your hands. Health experts, they say that the best defense, or the best way to avoid the virus, is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. You know, we should be more diligent than usual about washing our hands and wiping them off with sanitizers. And most of all, we need to avoid touching our face or touching after touching a public facility. Outside of your house, if you touch anything, you should have a bottle of sanitizer in your pocket, and you should use it often. If you touch any public surface, the coronavirus can also live for up to 9 hours or maybe possibly days on a hard surface, so it does not have to be transferred biologically. You can contract the coronavirus by touching almost anything in public, and then touching your mouth or your nose or your eyes. For example, shopping carts in grocery stores and department stores, cardboard boxes. They say the virus can live up to 24 hours on a cardboard box surface. Door handles, flush valves in public restrooms, merchandise on store shelves that others has handled who may be carrying the virus. Gasoline pump handles. These are just a few of the things that this virus can cling to and be transferred from one person to another. So use caution. Number two, we need to minimize exposure to large crowds. This might mean cutting back on some of our entertainment activities and staying home. It may mean limiting unnecessary travel unless it's absolutely necessary. It could mean canceling some appointments unless they're life-threatening to public places. You see, we can carry on our own lives and we can get through this thing together, and we can keep one another safe simply by exercising some just normal common sense and some good hygiene practices. You know, number three, the medical profession is recommending that we keep at least 3 feet distance from others when we're out in public, if at all possible. And another thing, resist the temptation to reach out and hug someone you haven't seen in a long time. Or, you don't know where they've been, and you don't know what they're carrying. And the same with you. They don't know where you've been or what you've been carrying. So avoid physical touch as much as possible until we get through this thing. Then we can hug each other to death. Number 4, eat more meals at home instead of going out to restaurants, even takeout. Most of the restaurants have been closed and shut down now so that you can only go and get takeout. You can't sit down in a restaurant. I think it's a limit of 5 people in a restaurant at one time. But limit your eating to home, because see, when you go to a restaurant and you get a takeout, you're gambling that the person that prepared that meal or who handed that meal to you out that takeout window has not contracted this disease, and it just hasn't been discovered yet. You're taking an awful chance, so why put yourself through that? Number 5, and this is for you men, me included. If you get flu-like symptoms, don't try to wait it out and see if it'll go away. Go and get checked out immediately. Once this virus shows up, it is much more difficult to get rid of than if you detect it early. So if you get flu-like symptoms, whether you have a temperature or not, go to the doctor, get it checked out, and you get some peace. Number 6, we can store a few more supplies in case there are shortages as a result of this crisis. Now, this has already been blown way out of proportion. Way out of proportion. It's out of control. Storing a few more supplies does not mean hoarding, which is what some people are doing today. I'll bet you there are people who have at least 100 rolls of toilet paper in their home, and it doesn't make sense. The stores are not going to run out of products. They're not going to run out of products. So stop hoarding. Keep some extra stuff on hand if you need it, but leave some for your neighbor, because when you act irresponsibly and you take everything in sight, then that leaves nothing for the guy behind you, and it causes them to act irresponsibly when they do find something. So just use a little bit of common sense. You see, the health experts are trying to strike a balance between smart diligence and a panicky neurosis. It's still not known how frequently this coronavirus spreads to people who may have touched a live virus on a commonly used surface. There's so much uncertainty about this virus that we don't know. And I think that's what's driving this fear the most. Most experts do agree that washing your hands thoroughly with soap for at least 20 seconds and as often as possible is the single best step you can take toward prevention. That is the single best step you can take toward prevention. And now is a good time to take notice of how often you touch your face. How often do you put your hand in your face? And you need to try to come up with another strategy for your hands and put them up into your face. Try to keep them occupied doing something else. This is just a few of the practical suggestions that I've come across that I put together that I hope will be helpful to you as you try to stay healthy and stay out of the hospital. And I pray that that you will just use common sense, folks, and we'll get through this thing together. And most of all, as I said yesterday, you pray. You pray. Pray daily. Pray often. Wash your hands and pray, and you'll get through this, believe me. Have a good night.